Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a book series that I've just recently got. I'd seen this on Amazon for a while, and I thought it would probably be an interesting addition to have. And then it went on sale, so I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'll get this series, and this should be pretty helpful for a video series that I'm trying to work on about Knight's Cross holders that I have in my collection. So I'll start off by reading you what the description on this book series is. And then I'll go through about 5 examples of people who I already have information on from my collection, and we'll do a little cross comparison, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. So it says the recipients are listed in the order of the date of the award. Each entry starts with the recipient's rank and the name, followed by details of the action or actions for which they were granted the award. Other interesting facts and stories are also included for many of the recipients. Burial locations, where known, are also given. Any higher awards, oak leaves, swords, diamonds, and the ultimate golden award are also covered. Now already I thought that was a little interesting that they are presumably referring to the German crossing gold as the ultimate golden award. I've never really heard that before. So anyways, we won't go through, examples from each of these, but I do have 2 examples from the first edition and 3 examples from this edition, and essentially the information is roughly the same across the board. You'll see what I mean in just a second. We'll zoom in on one of these books, and then we'll go holder by holder, and then I'll give my thoughts at the end. Okay, so the first recipient we're going to look at is from the Volume 1 for General Lieutenant Friedrich Karl Kranz. And it says, Kranz was born on 14th November 1886 in Kulm. He fought in the First World War and was awarded the Iron Cross First and Second Class, 1914. Kranz fought in Poland and France, being awarded the Iron Cross First and Second Class, 1939. He was commander of Infantry Regiment 18 when he was awarded the Knight's Cross on 29th June 1940. Kranz was killed in a training accident by friendly artillery fire at Neuhammer on 24th March 1941, and was buried in the Invalidenfriedhof, Feld D, Plot 3, Grave 17, Scharnhornstrasse, Berlin. So this was actually the first person I looked at before I even went looking for Recknagel. And immediately what jumped out to me is that it says that he was commander of Infantry Regiment 18. Well, that is false. He was commander of the 18th Infantry Division. Now, consider it a minor detail, but this is one of the main selling points of the book, is having their information of what unit they were in, which shouldn't be terribly hard to be correct. This book series was published, I believe, 5 years ago. And on top of that, there is really not any information about what he did to receive the award. As commander of the 18th Infantry Division, Kranz was responsible for essentially the capture of Dunkirk, or at least playing a vital role in it. No mention of Dunkirk at all here, just what campaigns he was in, which, okay, fair enough. I understand too. Let me preface this before we get into the others. This is a huge undertaking, no doubt. There's thousands of Knight Cross holders. However, if you're going to undertake this, you should at least make sure that you get basic information like the unit portrayed. And if you're going to leave the selling point of saying that you're going to give details on their actions, the information is out there. So we will jump ahead to page 119. Sorry, this is going to be slightly informal. We're not going to do a bunch of edits. All right, hang with me. Okay, so Oberst Hermann Recknagel. Recknagel was born on 18th July 1892 in Straumühle. He fought in the First World War and was awarded the Iron Cross First and Second Class 1914. He was awarded the Iron Cross First and Second Class 1939 after the fall of Poland, and he received the Knight's Cross on August 5th, 1940. Recknagel fought in Russia, and as commander of the 111th Infantry Division, he was awarded the Oak Leaves on 6 November 1943. Given command of the 42nd Army Corps, he was awarded the Swords on 23rd October 1944. Recknagel was killed by partisans on 23rd January 1945 and is believed to be buried in the Lorahute German War Cemetery as unknown, Siemianowice Śląskie, near Batam, Poland. Okay, so jumping into Reknagel, who I know undoubtedly more about any other Knight's Cross holder. It doesn't even say what unit he was a part of when he received his Knight's Cross. It doesn't say what it was for. Again, Dunkirk. And it really gives no detail as to what he did to achieve the Oak Leaves or Swords, which I understand that this book is only focusing really on the Knight's Cross itself, the basic edition. However, I did page through this, and I won't go into that because the others you can find this information on anywhere. When you start talking about some of the really famous ones like Rommel and, whatnot, there's plenty of information in this book. It's the same, things repeated. Now, I will say I have never come across saying that he's potentially buried in the cemetery. To my understanding, every source I've seen says that there is no information as to where he's buried and that he was just killed by partisans. So I guess that's it for Series 1. We'll go into Series 2. I'll do a quick pause and we'll jump up on a new video, and then I'll show you 3 more examples and then kind of give you my final thoughts here at the end. Okay, so in Volume 2, we'll start with Itil Gol, who I just recently did a video about, and I was kind of hoping that this would have more information on him. Gol was born on 19th June 1910 in Groß Schönfeld. He was commander of Bicycle Battalion 117 when he was awarded the Knight's Cross on 13th September 1942. Gol was killed in action at Komarano, Hungary on 5th April 1945 and has no known grave. Now, there isn't a ton of information on Gol, so I can't go terribly in depth. However, strictly saying that he was commander of Bicycle Battalion 117, I would not say reads correct. He was commander of Aufklärungsabteilung 117, which did have elements of bicycles, but most Aufklärungsabteilung by 1942 were slightly motorized. Now, again, there's absolutely no mention of what he did to achieve the award, and reading in the 111th Divisional History, yes, there were bicycle elements attached in this attack, but it wasn't just from 117. Each regiment usually had a small grouping of bicycle detachments, and they were involved in this as well. The assault had motorized elements as well, so again, just really basic information on most of these guys. And I mean, you can look at across the board, most of them only have a few sentences written about it. So we'll quick go over to page 188 for Konrad Lehm. Hauptmann Konrad Lehm. Lehm was born 27th November 1912 in Glückstadt. He was commander of 3rd Battalion Infantry Regiment 50 when he was awarded the Knight's Cross on 9th October 1942. Lehm died on 17th June 1979 and is believed to be buried in Ostfriedhof, Cologne, North Rhine-Westphalia. Okay, again, common trend here. Absolutely nothing saying what they did to achieve the award. Yes, this was his actual unit. There's no error there. But Lehm was awarded for the successful attacking over the Terek River. A very interesting subject, and I'm also trying to get a video started on that. Barely even started translation, so that's a ways down the road. But again, yes, the examples I'm using are all from one unit that I've already studied and have quite a bit of information on. But we have one more example that I'll go to, and then I'll really finish up. But I had asked a friend of mine if there was anyone that he knew about that he wanted information from this book, and he gave me a few examples. It is the exact same. It's just a few sentences that doesn't even give what they did to achieve the award. In his case, I can't remember the guy's name offhand, but he asked me to look up a pilot who he has a newspaper cutout related to and a few photos and whatnot. And in his newspaper cutout, it has much more information. And anyways, I'll save the rest of this for at the end. But one more example, page 288. Oh, shoot, right before the photo section, which I will say, I knew that I wasn't going to get photos of each Knight's Cross holder in this book. That was, not a make or break for me, but the information in here is where I kind of lose it. So, Major Friedrich Heinrich Musculus, who I just did a recent video on. Musculus was born on 8th October 1899 in Kiel. He was commander of Panzerjäger Battalion 111 when he was awarded the Knight's Cross on 17th February 1943. Musculus died on 20th February 1986 and is buried in Stadtfriedhof Hildesheim in Lower Saxony. Now, going back to Goal, he said bicycle battalion, so it doesn't matter to me if they chose to use English translations or not. That doesn't bother me. But I guess what I'm getting at, there wasn't a mistranslation, really. You can see that they just wrote bicycle battalion, and here they went with the full German unit, Panzerjäger Battalion 111. So, again, what I'm kind of getting at just seems like it's a bit sloppy, really. And again, I understand that this is a massive undertaking for the author to go through and compile information on all these guys, and you're probably only allotted so much space and whatever, but when you write the description for these books saying what's to be expected when you receive it, I don't feel that it really successfully even does that. So, I guess my closing thoughts on this, sorry, I just had to read my notes real quick. And they said about the Golden Award also. Some of these guys that I read were given the German Cross and Gold, and it doesn't even make mention of that. And again, no mention of really what these guys did to get their awards. Essentially, what I'm getting at, this book comes off as very sloppy to me. Very little detail on what it promises or states that it's going to give you. There's blatantly wrong information in it, and this is only 5 examples that I looked at. As far as of them, I would say that there's at least one major error and one slight error. So out of 5 examples of some 7,000 awardees, 2 out of 5 that we looked at already have some sort of error in it. And that's not really leading to a good percentage. And I did, again, look at other awardees that friends were interested in or may have known about already to compare, and barely any information on most of these guys. So, by a chance, if the author, Kevin Brazier, or whatever, happens to watch this video, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dig at you, but this really does come across as sloppy. I understand that this must have been a huge undertaking. And I did see in the Knight's Cross holders group on Facebook that I happen to frequent every once in a while, the post when this was in pre-order from 5 years ago, lots of people commented saying about that they were excited to read it and whatever, but absolutely no one at the end said after receiving it. I didn't see any comments saying about what a great book this was or how much information it had or whatever. And really, again, there's already some wrong information on some of these, which I thought, well, it's not the biggest typo or mishap, whatever, but let's just say I have a kid and they pick up the bookshelf and they want to start reading, and how much of this is actually going to be wrong? I don't have time to go through and look at every single one and cross-reference and research every single one right now. But again, from the small snippet that we chose, the percentage doesn't look very good. And really, with the internet today, I don't see much of an excuse for this. If this book series was published 50 years ago, pre-internet, sure, mistakes were bound to happen, especially then. You can take the time and maybe he was on a time crunch from the publisher or whatever, but if this was a passion project or whatever, I think that more could have been done. And you can get much more information right now off of tracesofwar.com. Not that that's the end-all be-all one-stop shop, but that's just an example, and that's free on the internet. You don't have to pay the price of these books for that, and it gives you much, much more information. Now, does Traces of War have information on all of these guys? And is it always 100%? Probably not, no. But there's much more detail on every single person that I cross-reference from there, and for my friends as well, looking at their interests. They got more information from that one website alone. Now, there's plenty of other websites and free sites out there that you can try and research and get information from these guys. And it's out there. So perhaps I'm rambling now and just kind of repeating and reiterating the same point, but this is just too sloppy for me. And I don't normally do books on bad reviews, but I'm in a Discord server as well, and I posted this photo of it saying that I was quite excited to receive it, and I'd let the guys know about how it went. And as soon as I got it, I was like, we are all right. We've already got wrong information and whatnot. So I guess my thing is I can't recommend this series in good faith. And I don't see a single other video on YouTube talking about this series. I don't really see many reviews talking about this series. Even on Amazon, I think there was only like 5 reviews. Now, of course, you can buy this from other websites as well. So there may be other reviews out there that I didn't see, but I wanted to make this video, one, so if you were interested in this and had hopes and you ordered through a site that isn't like Amazon and doesn't have such a good return policy, that you don't get screwed out of the money, because this isn't necessarily a cheap series. It's not, you know, like each one of these books are like some of those Osprey publishings where they're only like $5 or $10 each or $12 or something. These are all, you know, quite a bit more than that, not terribly, but anyways, rambled on about that enough. I will be packing these up and returning them back to Amazon, and I guess as far as my series go for the Knight's Cross that I'm working on, I won't be relying on this book series. I'll just have to reference what I can find on the internet and divisional histories and whatnot that I was already planning on doing. So if you made it this far, I didn't really expect this video to get that long. Sorry about that. I was hoping to do a kind of a quick review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and if you were interested in this book, you know, I don't want to say that, you know, it's absolutely terrible and there's no good information in here. That's not true, but for what a small sample size that I pulled, there's just too little information, and some wrong information. Because really, it says that it's going to give you the information about what they did to achieve the award. And most of these guys that we looked at, actually all of these guys that we looked at, it barely even said what unit they were in. And it didn't even hardly say what they had done to achieve the award for almost all of them. So if this is just a small sample size, imagine the rest, as I said before. And, you know, again, if you're looking at some of the really big famous guys, you know, and Rommel and whoever else, you can find information on those guys no problem. You don't really need this book for that. This book was, for me, going to be hopefully helpful for getting information on the small guys, and it does not do that at all. Most of these guys, as you saw, even if I didn't read them, flipping through the pages, you probably saw it's 2-3 sentences. Now, again, I don't expect full page write-ups or whatever, but when you set out and say that you're going to deliver a certain amount of information and most of it's not even there, essentially this book series just covers their date of birth, where they were from, when they got the award, and where their burial location is, which some of those I'm not even sure on that either. So anyways, again, rambled on longer than I thought I would. Hope this was enjoyable or helpful if you were looking at this book series. Yeah, I don't normally do reviews like this. If you look back on my channel, I've only ever done 2 book reviews, and I have plenty of other books I'd like to cover that are more like memoirs and divisional histories and things like that, but when I got this and saw that there really isn't much out there for reviews, I figured I kind of had to upload this, because if I was this disappointed, I imagine that there's got to be some others out there as well. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry for the little bit of a downer video, but it is what it is. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and hope you all have a great rest of the day.